And I'm going to bring in the Note Air 3C here as well, which is an excellent device. And certainly if you've just bought one of these, you shouldn't be thinking I'm upgrading to this. But let's have a little look around both of them as well, as we sort of skip around a little bit and see if you can see, yes you can, that there is higher performance on the right hand side here, which is the Tab Ultra C Pro. Okay, you can certainly see that. And I'll turn both the lights up slightly, turn the front light off, but the panels do perform sort of exactly the same in terms of their front lights. They must have exactly the same front light within them. It's difficult to match it exactly, but they do look the same. There is one glaring difference you can see straight away, which is the launcher. So on the left-hand side, you have the Note Air 3C with the more Note-style launcher, so library, store, notes, storage, and so on. Whereas this has this sort of smart assistant with widgets, which you can configure. You can, of course, put your own launcher on either of these two devices, and I'd encourage you to do that if you wish to. Let's have a look then at the Geekbench comparison scores. So Geekbench 6, go for the CPU result first. I don't know if you're seeing that, but the single core 1000 here on the right and 447 here on the left. So even though this is telling me that I have 4 cores of 2.8 gigahertz, then this is still blowing it out of the water in terms of its single core and multi-core performance. And this tells me it has 1 core at 2.84 gigahertz and 3 cores at 2.4, and it has 4 cores, the efficiency cores, at 1.8 essentially. So that's a good balance of processor. Now, a lot of people have been telling me that, in fact, if this is indeed the system on chip that it's built to be, then yes, this is a much more impressive chip, and you can see that in the Geekbench scores there. Single core 1000, multi-core 1500, and the comparisons you can see against the same devices. This is 1000, which is equivalent to, well, Samsung, around about the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE, the S20s. So, you know, not that long ago, the flagship phones, I even went back to, this is a Note 20, which would be that kind of iteration, whereas this is half of that. So you have to go all the way back. In fact, you know, Galaxy A50s and things, that's the type of performance you're expecting from there. And in terms of multi-core, again, absolutely blows it out of the water. Pixel 7, sort of equivalent to the Xiaomi Poco X3s, but nothing to compare it to really on the Note Air 3. And then in the GPU, this is the one that really sort of surprised me. I go to the history of the GPU. Wow, there's a massive difference there. 2600 plays 380. So that's a big difference in performance. It's faster. It's streets ahead. I wasn't expecting it to be so far ahead. And in fact, in my preliminary videos where I hadn't tried this yet, I was saying that this is going to be almost identical performance to this. I thought they would have the same system on chip, but they do not. This is a faster device all round, and that's going to make it a better, more complete productivity device. You are going to get a lot of use out of that. And frankly, I'm quite impressed. I used to say that Eink devices didn't need much in the way of processing power, but I'm going to take that back now because I'm enjoying the zippiness of this straight away. It's really quite impressive. There was another question about whether the RAM makes a lot of difference. I'd say it does and it doesn't. Like, the thing that RAM does, it allows it to switch between tasks more efficiently. And if there's free RAM, it allows software to take up more of that RAM and therefore do processes, do sort of in and out of data essentially into apps quicker. And so even now that I've got 3 pages of apps loaded up, I'm only using 2.1 gigabytes of RAM, and that's what I'm using over here on the left-hand side as well. But it's the free RAM. I've only got less than 2 gigs over here, and I've got almost 4 gigs over here on the Tab Ultra C Pro. Bezels look slightly smaller than the Note Air 3. Yeah, well, certainly the left bezel is. That's on purpose, though, to give you more of a hold on the Note. But actually, the bezels look, to me, as I'm really close to it, they look pretty similar, actually. Just that left hand, the kind of the one that's purposefully wider for you to have more to hold on to. Are they worth it over the Air 3C if you aren't using the stock keyboard? No. I mean, look, I have been absolutely waxing lyrical about how good the Air 3C is, and I stand by it. It's a fast tablet, like for an e-ink tablet, certainly. It's very, very fast. And no, if you've bought one recently, no, I don't think you should be looking at this with envious eyes now and thinking, gosh, that is, my device is so slow. This is designed as a productivity device, and if you bought the Note F3C, I hope you listened to my sort of advice I've been saying. You bought it because you wanted a more notes and reading orientated device. Hopefully that's the case anyway. So don't sort of throw out the baby with the bathwater. Love the one you're with. If you've got the Note F3C, it's wonderful. I still think there's many positives over this compared to the Tab Ultra C. And we're going to have a good discussion about this, I hope, in the near future. Myself and one other gentleman who we know prefers that form factor. It's all about what the form factor you prefer is. Yeah, the one thing I didn't actually mention there, thank you, was this is more like a paper replacement, the Note F3C, and you really get that nice sound, you really get that nice feeling. It wears down your nibs a bit quicker though, and you don't get quite that level of sound here. You don't get quite that level of texture, although it's not at all bad really. It is smoother, but it doesn't feel like glass, and I'm a bit disappointed at hearing quite a lot that it's like an iPad screen. It's not like an iPad screen at all. You won't get this screen protector and think, gosh, that feels like tap, 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 Apple Pencil on iPad screen. No, you won't. You'll be fine. 3D games actually run okay on the Pro. Absolutely rubbish to play with the screen type, of course, but fun nevertheless. I take it you've got one Bluetooth in red. You've got one and you've tried some 3D games. Yeah, with that Geekbench score of GPU score, I'm not surprised 3D games are running quite well. I suppose, something, maybe even things like 3D drawing software, you could actually enjoy doing that on e-ink now. And that's the thing about our brave new world with e-ink, is that we've got so many options and we can do so much more now with e-ink. And I don't know if you've been seeing it, but I'll come back to the Book Super Refresh is very impressive. The way it just clears up that white space. So it gets all black and then just gone. I know it did a full refresh there, okay? But even within something that's not doing a full refresh, I changed the page, gone. I did not refresh the entire screen. I refreshed part of the screen, and look how quick that is. It's interesting to me, this is an interesting point, the ghosting within colour seems to be a lot worse than ghosting within black and white. It seems to be able to clear up black and white easier than it can clear up colour. But actually it seems to be worse with colour than not. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you all for being here, spending a bit of time with me. It's really good to see you. How does the battery hold up in the Pro versus the SE? Well, I've just had it for today. I actually think it might be doing better. I've just had it for today, and as you see, I'm on 92% still. I think that this chip might actually be just a bit of a cut above the previous generations of chips. And that's where that Pro badge is really coming from, as well as the really excellent to have this pointer as well. And obviously in my full review, I'll have got to know this tablet really, really well. And I'll be able to give you my impressions of how it actually works using it for work, because that, I think, is probably what you guys are using it with. Julie's here as well. I mentioned the colour screens look nostalgic compared to the movie newspaper in Harry Potter. Yes, I have. Yeah. Having a Note F3C, I must say now, it was spot on. I really like it. Yeah, I really like it too. I really do like the way the colour e-ink looks. I don't think it's finished in terms of its development. I think we'll see a few more generations. I think we will eventually see CMYK colour e-ink, which means that the actual colour capsules, just like printed paper, and just like what it's doing with the black and white, where it's bringing an actual black and white capsule to the surface, or pigment within a capsule, I should say. We'll actually see colour coming upwards and coming back and forth, and we'll be able to do that quickly. But the minute, the way it does colour on gallery is it actually sort of does them in a set order such that the lighter particles sort of are done last, I think, and the heavier ones stay where they are. So it sort of does it in different, I don't know the ins and outs of it. There's a really good slow motion video where he actually captures some macro slow motion and gives you a real good look at how gallery really works. But this color has a color filter. Essentially, the color is being done by LCD on this. but it's kind of like a halfway house between our LCD, a reflective LCD, and Eink. The black and white is done by Eink capsules, and the color is actually done a bit like a reflective LCD, and that's why you lose that contrast. That's why it does look darker than a black and white screen when the things are right off, although it's still pleasant to read on. I don't know if you agree with me on that one, Julie, as well. It is still pleasant to read on just there. And yeah, did you see the ghosting just clear up there? It's great. Other companies do need to catch up with Boox on that front.